Good evening everyone, magandang gabi, magandang umaga sa mga nandito po sa US, Canada. Si Dr. Iris po ito. Katatapos lang kanina ng Zoom meet natin, yung ating public service na Zoom. And yung mga hindi po naka-attend doon, kaya ito tayo may broadcast kasi alam ko marami sa inyong mga gustong magtanong and we're not able to join yung atin pong Zoom kanina. So saan ba nangyari yung Zoom na yan? Ginawa natin yan doon sa loob ng ating community. So every 2 weeks or so, ako po ay gumagawa ating libre na Zoom para doon sa mga kailangan magtanong talaga ng live. And ang ina-encourage ko na mag-attend noon yung wala pong mga resources. So indigent patients, walang resource, walang pambayad sa doctor, kailangan magtanong, doon po kayo magtanong sa ating free na Zoom Meet. So kakatapos lang nung Zoom Meet na yon kanina, doon sa loob ng aking community. Kung hindi pa po ninyo alam paano mag-join doon, andito po yan ito po yung ating community para hindi ninyo ma-miss yung susunod na Zoom. Yan po. So join kayo dyan sa community na yan. Dyan nakapost kung kailan ang susunod na Zoom Meet. So ngayon, I'm going to entertain your questions. Alam ko marami pong mga gusto magtanong. Very busy tayo. Many times we don't get a chance to look at all the comments. So today, mag-entertain tayo ng Q&A. So lagay lang po ninyo yung questions. Habang inaantay ko kayo maglagay ng mga tanong ninyo dyan, I'm gonna go over here and titignan ko yung mga questions na hindi pa nasasagot. Sandali lang. Sige, tingnan natin. Dito, I will wait for your questions. Hello po sa lahat ng nandito na. I will wait for your questions and tingnan natin. Ayan, sabi ni Miss Mavia, pa-attend po. So, everyone watching in Facebook, YouTube, hello po. Yes, pa-attend po ninyo yung inyong mga especially seniors po pa-attend ninyo sa ating susunod na Zoom meet. Ayan. Okay, so I think meron na mga question dito. Okay, so Miss Mitch Merizing Palaubsanon. My blood sugar is always normal na. Do I still need blood sugar lowering medication? Ito po ay maaaring mawin, pero how are you checking your blood sugar? It's good to have yung objective na measure niya. Karamihan sa atin merong yung home monitor, but we need to have still yung ating laboratory measures. Okay, so get your HbA1c measured, get your fasting sugar measured, and sa laboratorio po para kasi iba rin yung ating blood monitor, yung glucose blood monitor at home. We need to have that check din ng yung objective measure sa laboratory din kasi sometimes may fluctuations yan depende sa kung kailan ninyo tinake yung sugar ninyo, and of course we need to have that HbA1c also looked at, hindi lang yung bastang fasting sugar na mineasure natin sa bahay. So after ninyo po yan ma-check yung inyong fasting sugar and your HbA1c kung normal na talaga, then work with your doctor to wean off yung inyong medication po ng padahan-dahan. Okay, until wala na kayong iinumin na gamot. But you need to have objective measure for that, Miss Mitch Merizing. Okay, magandang gabi sa lahat na nanonood. Okay, Sir Herminio de la Cruz, Maala, nag-muscle loss po ako, anong dapat gawin? Sir, meron tayong specific video about this. Dalawa po yun. Number 1, yung muscle building. So, sa mga hindi nakakaalam, ito po yung ating YouTube. Sa loob mismo ng community ko po, sir, nandun yung complete resources of library, meron pa siyang link. So, tignan natin, join tayo doon sa community. Low-carb fasting holistic wellness community. Nandoon yung kompletong library. Pwede rin naman siya mahanap sa YouTube. Punta lang sa channel, Level Up with Dr. Iris. Yan lang yung pangalan ng channel. Yan din yung aking webpage. So, pagpunta ninyo doon sa channel, makikita po ninyo yung video about muscle wasting, and then yung isa yung paano huwag masyadong pumayat sa paglo-low carb. Panoorin po natin yun, sir, kasi it's a very detailed video explaining kung paano ninyo gagawin. May mga computations kasi doon, so better watch that po, Sir Herminio. Okay, sir? Yes. Okay, Miss G. Barakel, ano masabi niyo po sa equal sugar? Yung equal po, dito sa Canada wala kami nun, pero I believe yung equal meron siyang sucralose. So yung sweetener kasi na yun is a synthetic form of sugar. So, hindi talaga siya pasok doon sa ating food guide. Meron tayong 4 na sweeteners that we are, advocating for, yung erythritol, xylitol, monk fruit, tsaka stevia. So kung maaari pong pumili dun sa 4 na yon, mas mainam. Kasi they are more natural forms. So plant-based, stevia, monk fruit, plant-based, xylitol, erythritol, mga sugar alcohol sila. So hindi masyadong kasing insulin stimulating compared sa itong mga synthetic forms of sugar. Ang issue kasi dyan is, yun nga, sugar pa rin kasing derivative yan yung sucralose na nasa loob ng equal. Yes. And hello po sa mga nasa Bulacan. Yes. Miss Leila Soliman, safe po ba sa may cancer ang keto diet? Yes po. In fact, we have a video about this again. Yung bakit nga ba isa ang paglo-low carb sa mga treatment regimens na sinasuggest na ngayon in conjunction with traditional cancer therapy. Ito po ay dahil sa theory tungkol sa consumption ng cancer cells ng sugar. So mainly sugar consumers kasi ang cancer cells. So if you transition to low carb lifestyle, ang mangyayari niyan, you will shift from being a sugar burner to fat burner. Yung cancer, they cannot efficiently use fat as fuel. So kung ikaw ay mainly fat burner, ang mangyayari niyan, you are starving the cancer cells. Gugutumin mo ngayon sila kasi ang nire-rely nilang fuel is mainly sugar eh. So kung ikaw ay low carber na, tapos nag-transition ka na sa fat burning, ang ginagamit ng gasolina ng katawan mo is fat, right? The cancer cannot utilize that as effectively. So mangyayari, magugutom siya. Okay? And normal cells will survive kasi the normal cells can utilize fat as fuel. So it is certainly something that's being added na ngayon sa mga therapeutic regimen for cancer. It is safe and yun nga, in some cases it's therapeutic, especially sa brain cancer po, nakakapatunaw ng tumor sa utak yung keto. Okay, from Bacoor, hello po dyan. Hi, Miss Divine. Hello. Okay, from Alfonso Cavite, hello po, Miss Divine. Ay, Miss, sino ito? Yeah, Miss Divine pala. Jeddah, Miss April Jane, hello. Okay. Okay, Miss Candy. Doc, kung ang low carb nakakapayat, ano naman po ang nakakataba? You can increase your protein intake. Kung gusto po talagang tumaba, make sure you're meeting your protein requirement. You don't necessarily have to eat high carb para tumaba. Ang pagtaba is all about energy po. So, think of the currency of energy. Paano ba pumayat, paano tumaba? Ina-adjust yung energy na pumapasok sa katawan. So, kung gusto pumayat, bawasan yung energy. Kung gustong tumaba, dagdagan. Paano dadagdagan? Sa ano-anong pamamaraan lang ba? Hindi. Always think about the insulin effect. Kasi kung yung pamamaraan mo ng pagdadagdag ng timbang will also highly stimulate insulin, hindi siya magiging healthy. Kasi magkakaroon ka ng insulin resistance. And with that will come many diseases. Diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, fatty liver, mga ganyan po. So if you're gonna add weight, add proteins, dagdagan natin yung energy through protein and fat intake. Yun po yun. Meron tayong video about that, Miss Candy, panoorin na lang po. Okay? Okay, Sir Albert, good evening po. Okay lang po ba mag-low carb ang wala ng gallbladder? Okay po, sir. Meron lang konting adjustment. Yung mga wala ng gallbladder, you will notice that there can be in the beginning stage, lalo na kasi, ano bang trabaho ni gallbladder? Lalagyan ng bile, pang-neutralize ng fat. So, pag tuwing kakain kayo ng fat, wala na kayong gallbladder, diretso na yung bile eh. So, sometimes there's an adjustment period kung saan mapapansin ninyo, medyo mabilis yung pangangailangan pumunta sa toilet habang nag-a-adjust pa lang. But, that is, settle down over time and you can work with it. Pero certainly, yung benefits kasi ng paglo-low carb over the long term, ay mas marami kaysa dun sa inconvenience ng, na kailangan mong tumakbo sa washroom after mong kumain ng fatty food. So certainly sir, pwede pong gawin ito and it will help in the long run. Okay, Miss Rose Slow, okay lang ba mag-take ng tablespoon of VCO every day? Okay lang po, ma'am. Yes, virgin coconut oil is very healthy. Okay, great question, Mr. J. Lord Ragual. Doc, nagagamot po ba ang Parkinson's disease kapag nag-low carb? Makakatulong po ng malaki ito, sir. Parkinson's, there's a few different things with that. Ang issue kasi dyan, it's a neurodegenerative. May issue doon sa ating nerve cells po, may mga deposits. And so, ang makakatulong dyan are a few things. So, tatlong evidence-based things na makakatulong. Paglo-low carb, kasi, eating high-carb diet is very inflammatory and yun, nagpapalala ng brain damage na meron na ang mga tao na may Parkinson's. Ikalawa, fasting. Bakit importante ang fasting sa mga taong may Parkinson's, merong dementia? Fasting kasi will put you in a state of autophagy. Auto, self, phagy, eating, self-eating. It's the body's way to naturally clean itself by eating away all the debris. Lahat ng mga junky components ng katawan natin, nahi-heal siya kapag tayo ay nagfa-fasting. Isa na doon yung mga protina na nakadeposit sa ating utak na nagkukos ng mga ganyan, mga dementia, mga Parkinson. So, it has been shown sa mga studies na low carb, fasting specifically will help with that repair dahil dun sa proseso ng autophagy. The third thing is movement. Very big po yung evidence ng neuroplasticity. Ang brain kasi natin has the capacity to heal itself, right? Yung neuroplasticity. So neuroplasticity is one of those, sandali, susulat ko for you. Isa siya sa mga bagay-bagay that can really help yung mga tao na meron ng mga neurodegenerative conditions. So neuroplasticity, ito yung pagre-remodel ng mga damaged areas ng brain natin and natutulungan ito because of exercise. Okay, so tatlong bagay po, low carb, fasting, exercise. Makakatulong sa Parkinson's. Kung depende sa degree ng Parkinson, sometimes pag masyado ng malala, of course, we cannot expect miracles. But if it's done consistently, it can stabilize the condition. Yung iba talagang nag-improve. I've seen this in my own practice. Talagang pwedeng mag-improve siya. Okay, but all those parameters have to be done. Low carb, fasting, movement. Okay? Yun po, sir. Sana makatulong yan. Okay. Okay, Ms. Rowena Villegas, okay lang po ba mag-daily intake ng MCT oil? Masyado na bumaba ang weight ko. Okay lang po, ma'am. So, MCT, it gets absorbed and used right away. Yun yung unique sa kanya po, mga medium chain triglycerides. Kakaiba sa kanila ay diretso ang absorption. So, it can be used as fuel right away. Okay lang po yun. Okay. Doc, tanong ko lang po kung ang muscle cramps ba ay side effect din ng low carb? Opo, very common side effect po ito. Panoorin po natin yung video natin sa YouTube, Level Up with Dr. Iris YouTube channel. Meron tayo yung low carb side effects at ano ang mga dapat gawin. Very common po yan. Gawa po yan ng electrolyte disturbances na nangyayari kapag tayo ay nagsastart pa lang sa lifestyle na ito at naiihi natin yung ating mga electrolytes gawa ng fat burning. So, nakakaramdam tayo ng mga transient, pansamantala, na mga side effects katulad niyan. Pagkahilo, magaan ang ulo, cramps, numbness, masakit yung mga kalamnan, sometimes palpitations, mga ganyan po. Ano daw po, paano gawin if gusto mag-gain ng weight? Yes. 2 videos po. Build muscles and paano huwag masyado pumayat. Lahat nasa YouTube, very extensive explanation. May mga computation, kaya kailangan panoorin po yun. Pakihanap na lang po. Level Up with Dr. Iris, nandoon po siya. Okay, Miss Gloria Rialo Lagat. Ask lang po, what if nag-low carb sumobra sa 50 grams per day food intake, 75 to 100 grams? Can this be considered? Ang tawag po dyan, ma'am, is liberal low carb. So pakita ko ulit para sa mga bagong-bago sa lifestyle natin. Meron tayong 3 degrees ng paglo-low carb. Yung ina-advocate natin sa ating community ay yung ketogenic and moderate. Ketogenic under 20, moderate 20 to 50, liberal 50 to 100. So yung pong sinasabi ninyo na yan na range, 75 to 100, falls under liberal. We don't normally advocate for this kasi it's ano yan eh, ang frame kasi natin mga Pilipino, maliliit tayo compared sa mga ibang lahi. So a lot of us will be able to maintain yung optimal wellness sa 50 grams or less. Problema kasi kay 75 to 100, medyo bordering na siya side and magkakaroon ulit ng mga cravings, yung madalas na pagkain, mga ganun po, ano? Mahihirapan mag-fasting kapag masyadong mataas yung carb requirement. Ngayon, kung kayo naman ay magta-transition pa lamang at medyo nahihirapan, it's okay. It's okay to do 75, 100 until unti-unti ninyong maibaba. It's still best to be below 50 kasi nandyan lahat ng benefits eh. Yung mga anti-cancer, right? Pag mababa kasi, the lower you go doon sa inyong net carb requirement, mas nagiging effective siya in healing. Ang ano kasi dyan is the healing component po, ano, hindi lang pagpayat. And that usually happens kung bababaan natin yung carb. Okay, so 50 grams or less ang talagang nire-recommend natin. Okay, Miss Cindy, low carb intermittent fasting, napansin too much hair loss, anong gagawin? It is transient po, pansamantala lang yan. There is an adjustment period, usually 3 to 6 months. Give yourself some time. Make sure you're meeting all of your nutrient requirements. So, meron tayong protein requirement, kailangan ma-meet yun, fat, those two are essential. Kung patuloy pa rin ang pag-hair loss beyond the 6 months, kailangan na magpasuri, baka iba ang cause. Baka iron, hindi yan related sa low carb. Baka thyroid, hindi yan related sa low carb. Pagka gumagawa tayo ng low carb plates, make sure na nutrient dense sila. Kailangan ng hair, ng mga certain vitamins, biotin, zinc, selenium, mga ganyan. Make sure that we meet all those requirements. Kaya nga, nutrient-dense meals, ano ba yung mga yan? Make sure you eat meat, you eat eggs, you eat nuts, mga ganyan. These are nutrient-dense. Spinach, kale, mga ganyan po, ano? So, make nutrient-dense, low-carb meals para siguradong hindi tayo nakukulangan ng mga nutrient natin. Miss Aida, 3 times na po ako na-opera, stone former ako, okay lang ba mag-low carb? Depende po ma'am, yung certain people who have parathyroid disease, mga stone formers, can have triggering ng stone formation sa paglo-low carb. Okay lang naman siya i-try, see for yourself. Kung lalong mapalala yung proseso ng pagiging stone former ninyo, then maaaring i-adjust, maaaring gawa kayo ng fusion, a fusion type of diet na, or you can go maybe moderate to liberal, ganon. Pero dahil kayo ay baseline stone former na, sometimes we see cases na napapabilis yung stone formation sa paglo-low carb. Just keep yourself well hydrated po, nakakatulong ng malaki yan. Okay, do not keep your urine in and hydrate well. Miss Maribel T, okay lang po ba ang chia seed sa paglo-low carb? Yes po. Meron po tayo nito, sa mga hindi nakakaalam. Meron tayong, hinahanap ko lang siya. Meron tayo nito, pakigamit lagi. Nandyan po yung listahan ng lahat ng mga pwede. Chia seeds are okay. Saan mahahanap yan? Dito lang po. Print natin, levelupwithdriris.com. Maraming resources dyan. Kasama yung food guide na pwedeng i-print. Okay? Thank you for that question. Okay. Okay, Miss Carol. Urinalysis may ketones. What does it mean? Ibig sabihin, you are peeing out ketones. Right? Naiihi ninyo yung ketones. Maraming iba't ibang dahilan yan. It can be as simple as na-dehydrate kayo ng konti, hindi kayo kumain, nag-fast kayo, tumapon yung ketones. Personally, I would ano yan, kasi yung mga test strips, hindi naman yan lahat created equal. Some people test the urine, titingnan nila kung nasa ketosis na sila sa pamamagitan ng urine test. Ako, I don't normally advocate for that. Ang pinaka-best na marker mo kung ikaw ay nasa ketosis is yung hindi ka na nagugutom. Nakakatagal ka na 18 hours fasting, hindi ka pa rin gutom. So you're fat burning. But ketones in the urine simply mean that you are peeing out ketones. So ikaw ay nagbe-burn ng fatty bodies, probably from fasting or sa paglo-low carb. Yun po yung ibig sabihin nun. Naninigas, mga daliri sa kamay, ano po kaya ito? Ano ang cause? Ma-reverse ba ito? So Miss Janet, are you doing low carb and fasting? Kung opo ang sagot dyan, then it can be from the electrolyte disturbances. Dahil po, pag naihi natin yung mga electrolytes na yan, from fat burning, maaring mag-cause ng ganyan. Either, sometimes it can be from calcium as well. So make sure na mapacheck po natin, pasuri natin yung ating laboratory. Kung kayo hindi naglo-low carb, then yes, certainly talagang pasuri nyo yan. Usual cause niyan is calcium disturbances. Pero kung naglo-low carb kayo, maaaring yung inyong electrolytes, sodium, potassium, magnesium po. Okay, Cheryl Santos. Doc, is kefir grain okay to buy to make kefir milk? I have acute tonsillitis, stop fasting because I need to take antibiotics. Is there a low probiotic yogurt you can recommend? I tried fasting since Sunday when I have symptoms of COVID, given antibiotics. I just drink the iron barley with antibiotic. Okay, so any kind of supplements or any mga yogurt, mga ganyan probiotics, it's always a good idea to read label. Itong kefir grain, the issue kasi with when you make it yourself is hindi mo ma-quantify kung ilang net carb yung nandyan. So you're better off, unless pwede mong ipa-assay yan at malaman mo kung ilan magiging net carb niyan, right? Kasi certain products, certain forms of kefir still has mataas na net carb. Nakakita ako ng mga ganyan na kala mo okay siya pero ang taas pala ng asukal. So it's always a good idea to read the label. Maraming mga probiotic yogurts, so mga plain Greek yogurts na probiotic na hindi mataas ang asukal. Kailangan nating basahin yung label. Iba-ibang brand, iba-iba yung net carb content. Pinaka paraan paano malaman, read the label. Usually, to give you an idea, yung mga magagandang klase have less than 5 grams, mga 5 grams or less net carb sa kanila. That should be fine. Okay. Hello po from Germany. Kamusta po, Miss Vance? Ingat po kayo dyan. Okay. Miss Sophia, okay lang po ba mag-low carb yung may mga iniinom na gamot? Hyperthyroid po ako, tumaas din blood sugar kapag nakakain ng high carb. So the thing with, it should be, so in your particular case, no, yung thyroid medications, first of all, make sure lang na na euthyroid kayo. Ibig sabihin, yung latest lab ninyo, yung inyong mga TSH, mga T3, T4 ay normal. Kung normal naman yan, there usually is not a problem na mag-low carb kayo. Certainly sa mataas na sugar, nakakatulong yung pag-low carb. So, usually wala pong problema yan. Good evening po, Miss Pressy. Hello. Okay, Miss Lirpa Arevere. Good day, Doc. 2 years counting no rise. LCIF, HF 85 to 58. Advisable ba to have the COVID vaccine? So, COVID vaccines, alam niyo po ngayon, napaka bilis ng kalat ng Omicron. Personally, if you ask me, I did get vaccinated, right? Meron naman siyang science behind it. So, I would personally advise, syempre kayo pa rin ang pinaka-boss. I am pro-choice. So, I respect people's choices. But, if you ask me if I did it myself, yes. So, nakakatulong siya. And sa mga tao na pa-vaccine, tapos nagka-COVID, less yung kanilang sintomas. Okay? Mr. Jerome, Doc, how to maintain weight and muscle mass ngayong na-meet ko na target weight ko? Sabi ng kasama ko, masyado raw akong payat. Okay. So sir, meron akong very detailed video about this. May calculation po siya, sir. Please go to the YouTube channel ko, yung Level Up with Dr. Iris. Meron doong video about muscle building. Meron kayong kailangang i-calculate. Kailangan alam niyo yung total calorie requirement nyo, and nakabase yan sa inyo pong edad, sa inyong gender, sa inyong timbang, sa inyong height. Meron doon, may link doon ng calculator, paano kina-calculate yan. And then, meron kung ilang percent ang i-add. Masyadong mahaba to explain here. That's why I made that video, lalo na sa mga lalaki nating practitioners na ayaw mag-lose ng muscle mass, guys. Please watch that video, okay? Kailangan ninyong i-compute kasi yan. Hindi yan basta-basta lang. And meron niyang maintenance phase, okay? Pakipanood yun, sir. YouTube, ano yun, build, ano yata yun, muscle. Tsaka yung isa pa yung paano wag pumayat masyado sa paglo-low carb. Okay? Alice Lopez. Hello po, Doc. Nag-low carb po simulan ng pakinggan ko kayo. Namayat po ako, lost 4 kilos, pero lumiit muscle ko. Okay, so ganun din po. Same question ito, ano, Miss Alice? Yes. Okay lang po ituloy yung low carb, pero especially for seniors po, ano, 65 and up, remember that every year, parts, yung muscle po ninyo, the muscle mass gets transformed into fat cells. Kapag tayo senior, natural part yan ng aging. All the more that you should build muscle. Paano ba yan? You have to, yun nga, watch that video. You have to make sure that you're meeting your protein requirement. Seniors, minimum at least 1.2 grams per kilogram body weight. Seniors, I encourage you to still build your muscles. So meet your protein requirement, build your muscles po. That's the only way. Otherwise, nagta-transition karamihan ng inyong mga, ano, yung inyong muscle into fat kasi. Hindi talaga maiwasan yan. That's part of aging. So, yun po yung dalawang pamamaraan. Meet your protein requirement and build muscles po. Nandun sa video po naka-outline, pakipanood po yan, okay? May allergies sa skin, Miss Jahan. So allergies, iba't iba ang cause. Sometimes it's from nutrition. So low carb can certainly help in many cases. Sugar is very inflammatory. Sugar causes a lot of allergies. So try muna natin yung low carb. Ngayon, kung hindi naman siya low carb related lang, every person has a different trigger. Some people, it can be chemical, right? So chemical, tingnan ninyo. So it's by the process of elimination, try nating i-identify kung ano yung trigger natin. Mga certain soaps ba? Is it certain lotions? Mga ganun ba? Sometimes even the textile, right, can trigger that. Is it related to the weather ba? Some people get allergies from too much init. Other people like me get allergic, yung eczema from cold. I get eczema dito from the cold. Ang lamig kasi dito. Some people from the soaps. So iba't iba po yan. It's always good to try low carb. Nakakatulong. Okay, but some people will have other triggers that are not related sa pagkain. Okay. Mr. or Miss Alcrish De Leon, ano po issue sa pag-combine ng carb diet plus IF? The issue with that is it's very hard to maintain intermittent fasting. So, intermittent fasting, you know, yung autophagy kasi, the cleaning process ng body, it doesn't really happen until you enter, iba-iba eh, sabi sa literature, anywhere from 12, you know, to 14 to 18 hours. If we go by yung washout effect ng insulin, di ba insulin, when you eat high carb food, ano nangyayari? You stimulate insulin, right? You stimulate insulin a lot. So ngayon, si insulin, yan kasi yung magdidictate sa katawan mo to create the fat cells. So ngayon, ang level ni insulin sa blood takes a while to really like go down, ma-wash out. Gaano katagal? 18 hours. So kung ikaw ay high carber, ang dalas na meron ka ng mga ganon, sudden spikes, regular Pinoy diet, right? Rice, tinapay, the works. Ang taas ng spike niyan eh, ang bilis din ng crash niyan. Ano mangyayari doon sa crash phase? Magugutom ka agad. There's no way you can maintain 18 hours. Napakarami ko ng patients na nangyari yan sa kanila. Fasting lang, walang low carb. Cannot maintain it. You can't. Physiologically speaking, paano mo maintain yun? Ipag-crash mo ng ganyan, and ano yung range ng crash na yan? 2 to 4 hours lang, gutom ka na agad. So how can you maintain it? papangit lang yung mood mo, you get really cranky. Kasi magke-crave ng sugar yung katawan mo, dahil dun sa crash. Parang drugs kasi yan, right? Sugar is addiction. It is an addiction. So, every time that you get into the crash phase, magugutom ka na naman. Paano yun? Hindi mo maaabot yung 18 hours na autophagy, yung washout phase ng insulin, kung hindi ka maglo-low carb. So, that's the implication of continuing to do the usual diet na high carb, tapos sasamahan mo ng intermittent fasting, hindi mo siya masusustain. Trust me. Hundreds of patients na yan, nakita ko niyan. Doc, nag-IF po ako. O, kumusta? After 3 months, Doc, bumalik lahat ng timbang. Bakit? Hindi ko po kaya mag-low carb. That's the answer, right? You cannot sustain intermittent fasting kung patuloy kang high carb. It's just the way that physiology works, right? It's the insulin effect. So, try po natin. Kahit kung hindi talaga kaya ng super low carb, kahit between moderate to liberal, malaking tulong pa rin yan compared sa totoong high net carb. Moderate to liberal is between 50 to 100. The usual diet, so 50 to 100 grams of net carb per day, katulad ng pinakita ko kanina. Pero kapag kayo ay patuloy na nag-high net carb, that can go as high as 200 to 300. So yan, kung hindi talaga kaya mag-low net carb, ayan po, try natin si liberal, 50 to 100 grams. Hindi pa rin mako-compare ang 50 to 100 grams dun sa mga taong kumakain ng 200 to 300 grams, which is the normal diet ng Pinoy. Right? Imagine ninyo, 1 cup ng rice, ilan ba net carb niyan? 55 to 65. 3 beses ka kumakain sa isang araw. Sabihin pa natin naka 2 cups. O yung palang, rice pa lang, 300 grams na net carb mo. Cannot sustain fasting that way. It's gonna be a miracle for you. Masustain mo siya over the long term. Remember, this lifestyle is a marathon. Hindi siya sprint. Lifestyle siya for the long term. Miss Jerry Leoneri, Doc, good evening po. Ask ko lang, bawal din ang supplement may ingredient na soybean oil? Yeah, ang issue po kasi sa mga oils that are not, yung mga highly processed oil po, ang issue sa kanila is the process of, yung pinagdadaanan nila, the process of oil extraction. Masyadong inflammatory po. Yeah, masyadong inflammatory. So, meron naman tayong makikita na mga supplements na wala niyan. Hanapin lang po natin, mga coenzyme Q, vitamin D3, hanap tayo ng mga walang ganyang components. Okay. Maray nabanggi po sa gabos ng mga kababayan ko dyan sa Bicol. Kumusta po ka mga gabos? Salamat tunon pong pirmi sa pag-iling nindo. Salamat sa suporta po. Okay, Doc, ano ibig sabihin na may trace na ketones? Is that normal po? Yes po, kasi iniihi ninyo yung ketones. Remember, when you're fat burning, you are eliminating ketones through your urine. Okay? Food na mataas ang inflammation, ito po ma'am, Miss Alma, food na mataas ang inflammation, kunin po natin ito. Lahat ng wala dyan, lahat ng nasa pula, highly inflammatory. Bakit? Gawa ng asukal, gawa ng proseso. So, avoid natin. Kain tayo from the green and the yellow section para mababa ang inflammation load. Kung talagang gustong tunay na pinakamababa ang inflammation load, from the green section tayo kumain. Yun kasing nasa pause, yung yellow, already went through a number of processes, and so sa ganung pamamaraan can have some inflammatory effects. So for example, yung mga meats natin that are cured, so mga deli, ham, bacon, mga ganon, sausages, they've already been processed. So yes, occasionally you can have them sa lifestyle natin, but not all the time, kasi inflammatory yung ganon, yung maraming additives and proseso na pinagdaanan. Bawal na pagkain, may gallbladder stone at fatty liver. Well, yun po, when you adapt kasi our low-carb lifestyle, talagang merong fat component sa diet. So there is triggering of that. Sometimes the gallbladder stone can maaring mabara yun and can trigger a bit of gallbladder inflammation. Pero hindi naman lahat ng kaso nangyayari yan. Pero maiging isipin natin yung long-term effect kasi ng paglo-low carb. Although there's that inconvenience na maaaring ngang ma-trigger yung pagbabara ng stone 'pag nag-adapt tayo ng ating low carb lifestyle, pero think about the long-term benefit niya. Hindi na magko-cause ng additional stones kasi nga maglo-low carb ka na, eh. Stones form because of the high carb lifestyle. So, over the long term, mababawasan yun. Ikalawa, maghi-heal yang fatty liver mo na yan. So, it's a good idea to adapt the lifestyle para sa natural healing ng fatty liver. Okay, Janeline Alcano, hello Doc. Pwede po ba sa low carb ang pampalasa tulad ng Vetsin, Magic Sarap? Great question. These are obviously because they're very synthetic, inflammatory. Matuto tayong gumamit ng mga natural spices, maraming mga natural na herbs and spices na talagang galing doon sa dried ng plant. So ano-ano yung mga yan? Matuto tayo gumamit ng cumin, turmeric, matuto tayo gumamit ng, of course, curry, ng mga savory, garam masala, so that's Indian, ano pa ba, coriander, masarap din, nutmeg. So mag-experiment tayo ng mga natural na mga spices na galing talaga siya sa herbs. Hindi kailangan yung mga synthetic form po, punong-puno lang yan ng MSG. Very inflammatory po. Ano siya chemical, right? Inflammatory. Gamit po tayo ng natural na mga herbs. Okay, Miss Lot Tiope, paano nalaman na underweight na? There are a few ways. So, ilalabas ko yung video tomorrow about waist-height ratio para malaman ninyo kung masyado na kayong super payat naman. Merong range. Ikalawa is by actual objective measure. So, yung mga gym natin, may mga gym, di ba, na meron silang yung machine na nagme-measure ng body components. Doon ninyo po makikita. There are a few ways. Some of the coaches, they measure with yung parang caliper ng fat. Pero isa sa mga pinaka-effective ways is yung machine na nagme-measure ng body composition, kung ilan ang muscle, ilan ang fat. Kung masyado nang mababa, it will tell you naman doon. But subjectively, you will also notice yung tingin mo talaga pag labas na yung mga, you can be healthy and slim na hindi talaga labas yung mga buto-buto, mga ganun, right? If you're already always getting cold, that's also a marker yung merong transient phase ng paglo-low carb na mararamdaman mo yung panlalamig eh. Pero lalo pat kung sobrang bagsak na yung weight mo, mararamdaman mo yun. Sobra-sobra yung malamig, yung mga kamay, mga paa. Kasi wala nang energy, right? Wala ka ng fat. Wala nang halos natira. The problem is karamihan ng mga practitioners natin will be losing weight pero not building muscles. So, yun ang nagiging issue dyan. Wala sanang problema yung pagpayat kung mag-build ka ng muscles para healthy ka pa rin. But many people don't. A lot of people who do low-carb fasting, parang allergic sa exercise, allergic. Parang nakatatak sa isip nila na hindi ka naman papayat sa exercise, so wag ka na mag-exercise. But it's a very wrong thing to think. We need to exercise for longevity, pampahaba ng buhay, for optimal functioning, para maayos yung metabolism natin, hindi mag-slow down. Sustainability, right, ng lifestyle na ito. And then, of course, for strength, mga ganyan po. Kasi hindi naman enough na payat ka lang, wala ka namang kalakas-lakas. Right? So, napakaraming benefits ng exercise, cardiovascular health, cancer prevention. We need to add that po. So, paano maging hindi masyado underweight? Build muscles. Meet your protein requirements, eat your fats, build muscles. Merong mga objective ways to measure. Yun nga, yung machine, yung body composition machine, and also yung waist-height ratio. Panoorin niyo po yung video later na lalabas about that. Doc, pwede ba mag-take ng vitamin B complex, vitamin E1 in low carb? Pwede po. Miss Ninfa, good evening. Ask ko lang, pwede ba ang LCIF kasi may polycythemia po ako at acute pancreatitis. Polycythemia shouldn't really be a problem. Ano lang yan, you do have to ano po have regular checks kasi obviously yung treatment niyan will be yung phlebotomies. So, have always yung regular checks po ninyo. Importanteng maano yan, ma-monitor ng doctor. Pancreatitis, kung acute phase, siyempre pancreatitis ano nga, ang issue nga diyan masyadong high carb kasi, right? Kaya sumusuko yung pancreas. Sa pancreas kasi ginagawa yung insulin. So, minsan sobra-sobrang carb stimulation, ayan nagkaka-acute pancreatitis. In the acute phase, magpagaling muna tayo, Miss Ninfa. Kung okay na yung humupa na yung pancreatitis, certainly you can adapt low carb lifestyle. Wala naman pong problema. Kay Miss Eliza Rivera, hello Doc, gandang gabi. Paano po procedure ng low carb sa tulad ko na-stroke? Na-stroke po ba ito? Na-stroke, payat po ako, 43, ang timbang 51 ang edad. Yes. So, yung na-stroke, it's the same process po. The thing is, kapag ka nagkaroon na kayo ng mga events na ganyan, it's good to have your medication. So, unang-una, baseline. Baseline labs are important. Kailangan kasi malaman natin na stable yung condition natin. Karamihan ng mga naso-stroke, marami din siyang mga kaakibat na iba pang conditions, right? You have to know, kumusta ba ang puso mo? Kumusta ba ang iyong kidney function? Kumusta ba yung liver? Mga ganyan. Have a baseline check. Kung okay naman lahat yan, okay lang na mag-low carb pag na-stroke. Makakatulong pa nga ito for prevention later on, right? Kasi bakit nagkaka-stroke? Nagbabara yung ugat sa brain. Dalawa lang kasi yan either magbara ang ugat sa puso mo, so that's a heart attack, or magbara ang ugat sa brain, that's a stroke. Paano ang proseso dyan? Dahil sa high carb lifestyle, right? Inflammation, babara yung ugat. So makakatulong ito over the long run. Paano ang procedure? Join po tayo sa community natin. Nandun yung step-by-step guide. The procedure is the same. Iisa lang siya. Number 1, go low carb. 1 to 2 weeks, sometimes 2 to 4. Some people need long period para makapag-fat adaptation. After na kayo ay fat adapted na, go to step 2. Mag-fast na kayo. After that, of course, you look at the other parameters. Ano ba yan? Yan. Good quality sleep, exercise, stress reduction. It's the same process for anyone else. Parehas lang po yan. Saan mahahanap yan? Nandoon po sa ating community. Low Carb Fasting Holistic Wellness. Join po kayo doon, ma'am. Join kayo sa ating community. Okay, mga hindi nakakaalam. Ito po siya. Hanapin lang po. Join lang tayo. Nandyan lang din siya sa mga comment section natin. Nandoon lahat ng library of resources natin yan. Join po kayo dyan. Nandyan din yung libre nating Zoom meets. Katatapos lang kanina nung Zoom consultation natin. Libre po yun lalo sa mga walang pampadoktor. Okay? Public service event yun. Okay. Varicose. Miss G. Barakel. Nakakatulong po ba ang low carb sa may varicose? Yung dating varicose na nandyan na, maaaring hindi na mawala. Pero makakatulong sa hindi pagkakaroon ng extra. Kasi varicose, although genetic po yan, karamihan na nagkaka-varicose kasi it runs in families. But the more heavy ang timbang ninyo, mas lalong lumalala yung varicose. Kaya nga lumalala yan pag kayo nagbubuntis, pag kayo tumataba, right? Kasi it's all the pressure. So kung magbawas tayo ng timbang dahil tayo naglo-low carb at ma-maintain natin ang tamang timbang, then mapiprevent yung pagkakaroon ng mga bagong varicose. Yung dati na nanandyan, hindi na mawawala yun, right? Magiging, kasi siya, it's a cosmetic thing. Kung gustong ipatanggal, kailangan talagang ipa-opera. Pero yung formation ng bagong varicose, maaring ma-prevent kung tama ang inyong timbang. Miss Corazon, Oyehara, I have GUT problem, feel bloated sometimes. Started September, yung kanyang paglo-low carb, planning to continue. Yes, karamihan po ng mga inflammatory, IBS, inflammatory irritable bowel syndrome, mga ganyan, is because of high carb diet. So, kapag tayo ay naglalas ng ating carb intake, nagsisettle down po yan. So, tuloy-tuloy lang po, okay lang po i-continue. Some of the people are a bit sensitive to certain food. So, elimination diet po, hanapin natin yung mga nakakapag-bloated sa atin. So, some people, it can be cruciferous vegetables, right? Sometimes yung mga cabbage, ganyan, mga broccoli, mga ganon. So, hanapin ninyo kung alin yon, i-identify ninyo, then iwasan ninyo. Go for the other low net carb veggies. Maraming iba't iba tayong choices. Hindi po iyan totoo. Nakaka-Alzheimer's yung sobrang taas na net carb. You can live without breakfast. Well, actually, breakfast in the traditional sense of the word is yung almusal sa umaga. But in reality, breakfast is any meal that will break your fast. So say for example, ako, kailan ako nagbe-breakfast? Minsan 12:00 ng tanghali. That's my breakfast kasi I normally do 18 hours. Minsan naman, ang aking breakfast ay 4 p.m. kasi naka-OMAD ako. So that is still breakfast, right? I am still breaking my fast. Hindi lang siya yung traditional na oras na umaga, right? So myth po yan. It's a myth that you have to eat your meal very early in the morning. It's a myth, okay? Kung kayo ay nagfa-fasting, kayo ay fat-adapted na, talagang hindi naman kayo nakakaramdam ng gutom till later in the afternoon, then listen to your body. Your body has wisdom. May rason kung bakit hindi pa rin yan gutom. Kasi may pagkukuhanan naman siya ng energy. Yung pag-high carb, nakaka-Alzheimer's yan. Bakit? Kasi you have so much more energy to create all these defective proteins. Problema sa Alzheimer's, you are creating defective proteins and depositing them in your brain. Kapag nag-low carb intermittent fasting ka, mababawasan yung paggawa ng mga ganon. And lalo pa pag nag-fasting ka, yung autophagy, yung proseso ng paglilinis ng katawan ng sarili niyang kalat, yun ang nakakatulong sa mga ganyan. Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. So highly recommended po, low carb intermittent fasting, especially sa mga neurodegenerative conditions. Yes. Thank you po, Miss Alice Garcia. Miss Madel Caldito, great question. Doc, nakaka-break ba ng fasting ang bulletproof coffee with MCT oil, butter at all-purpose cream? Yes po. Nakaka-break po siya ng fasting. It's not wrong to take yung ating bulletproof. It's okay to have your bulletproof coffee. I-take natin siya dun sa time na non-fasting tayo. Bakit siya nakaka-break ng fast? Bakit? Intindihin natin. Okay? So, meron tayong nanap ko lang yung slide. 3 yung macronutrients natin po, proteins, carbohydrates, and fat. 3. Bawat isa dyan will stimulate insulin. Paano? Insulin is the hormone that will tell our bodies, right, to start the process of fat storage. So, bawat 3 yan, give me a moment. Bawat 3 yan, bawat isa sa mga yan will stimulate boss insulin. Ano-ano yung gaano ka-stimulate? Ito siya. Carbohydrates, pinakamataas na stimulation. Protein, mababa. Fat, halos wala. So, ano yung components ng bulletproof coffee? Merong butter. What's butter? It's fat, right? Meron siyang MCT oil. Ano si MCT oil? Fat. Meron siyang all-purpose cream. Ano si all-purpose cream? It's fat. Sometimes meron pa yun na extra, depende sa brand na mabili nyo, kaya read the label. Yung iba dyan, merong konting sugar. So, if you have components that will stimulate insulin, ano mangyayari sa fasting nyo? Theoretically, mabibreak siya, right? Now, the question is, gaano ka break? Kung fat lang naman, katulad ng butter, MCT oil, all-purpose cream, mababa siya eh. So, some people who do what we call the fast mimicking diet, fast mimicking, ginagaya ang pagfa-fasting. So, ang sabi nila, yung mga fast mimicking diets are diets that have like less than 500 calories. So, yung mga ganon can still be daw considered as fasting. So, ang tawag dyan is dirty fast. Fasting siya, dirty, kasi may konting stimulation ni insulin. So, the bulletproof coffee can be included sa category ng dirty fast. Theoretically, kung talagang tatanong ako about talagang tunay na fasting, wala talaga. Walang energy source, walang caloric stimulation, walang insulin stimulation. So, for clean fast, wala talaga tayong iti-take. And that's why may nilabas akong video about the fluids na pwede ninyong inumin that can really give you a clean fast. Kung ang goal naman ninyo ay gusto niyo na lang naman mag-ano, fast mimicking diet, that's okay. Depends on your goals, depends kung ano yung i-a-allow ninyong katawan ninyo. So that's gonna be a dirty fast, kung ganun po, ano? Wala namang right or wrong, depends on your goals, okay? Miss Rosemary, malakas ang insomnia, nakaka-cure ba ang fasting? So LCIF, so the low carb and intermittent fasting lifestyle can sometimes make insomnia worse. Bakit po? Dahil dun sa effect niya sa hormones na norepinephrine, epinephrine. Yun yung mga hormones na nagpapaready ng katawan natin to go into a fight or flight mode. Tumataas yan kapag tayo nagfa-fasting, lalo na yung extended fasts. So mapapansin ng iba na nag-enter ng extended fasts, 48, 72 hours, na maaari silang lumala ang kanilang insomnia. Yung iba, sa pag-LCIF lang, lumalala yan. Over the long term, I will tell you though that it really helps with sleep over the long term kasi wala ka ng mga inflammation sa katawan. So, maybe expect ninyo yung transient adjustment. But over the long term, again, it's always about risk-benefit ratio po. What are the risks? What are the adverse effects nitong paglo-low carb lifestyle? Sige, sabihin na natin merong transient siya, pansamantala na mga ganyan, insomnia. Pero over the long term, anong benefit niya? Di hamak na mas marami, right? So, a little bit of insomnia is okay. Ngayon, kung talagang problema ang insomnia, tanungin ang sarili, bakit? What is your sleep hygiene like? Right? Sa community natin, we're promoting for better sleep. Good quality, 7 to 9 hours. Paano ba yan? Sleep hygiene, paano? Number 1, settle for a routine. Set a routine. Anong oras ka lagi matutulog? Hindi kasi siya pwedeng paiba-iba. Alam ko mahirap to sa mga shift workers natin. Mahirap, no? Kasi kaka-adjust pala ng katawan mo tapos bago na naman yung shift. Graveyard ka na naman. Gagaling mo lang morning. Mahirap talaga yon. But find the middle ground for that. Posible pa rin yan. I used to work in the ER. So, alam ko mahirap siya, pero you can find a middle ground. Yung mga hindi naman shift worker, Miss Rosemary, if you are not a shift worker, magkaroon ka ng kasunduan sa sarili mo, anong oras ang isiset mo na matutulog ka? Right? Kasi you have to have a routine Hanggat wala ka niyan, mahirapan yung katawan mo. Your body has a circadian clock. It's best if susundan natin yung sleep-wake cycle natin dun sa day and night cycle. Kasi mas optimized yung hormonal signals. So, settle on a time. Unang-una yon. Pag sinabing alas 10, right? Hindi pwedeng bukas 11, bukas alas 2, 10. And then, tanggalin lahat ng stimulation an hour or 2 before the bedtime. Ano na yung mga stimulation? TV, cellphone, right? Ayan, notorious yan. Cellphone, white light kasi, right? And it's providing you a lot of stimulation. You don't want to stimulate your brain. You want it to relax. So 1 to 2 hours dyan. Do not sleep with this sa bedroom mo. Kung ikaw ay may issue sa tulog, do not sleep with this. Ever. Kasi yung iba, they cannot stop once mag-scroll for life. Scroll na hanggang umaga, right? So put that in a different room. Get a traditional alarm clock. Okay? Ikatlo, do not eat too close to the bedtime. You need at least 4 hours, guys. Huling meal before the bedtime. So kung 10 ang naset mo, dapat 6 ang huling meal mo. Alam ko hindi perfect, right? Hindi man perfect ang life. Pero strive to be most of the time following that. 4 hours. Otherwise, yung gastric, yung proseso ng pag-digest ng food, nakaka-apekto po yan. Na metabolism natin yan, nakaka-apekto. So it affects your sleep. Sunod, too much activity. Huwag masyadong malapit sa bedtime. Don't exercise too close to the bedtime. Don't go walking too close to the bedtime. Settle down talaga. Have a routine for yourself. Adapt certain calming practices. Ano yan? Meditation. Pwedeng pakikinig, so guided meditation. Pwedeng yung nagme-meditate ka lang. right? Do your reflection, your prayer, quiet time. Yung mga iba are very sensitive sa light. So, you can do a few things. Lagay ng curtain para wala na masyadong ilaw. Kung katulad ko, nakatira ka sa abroad, pag summer, 10:00 na, ang taas pa ng araw. So, you have to have a curtain. You can use yung pang takip ng mata. We have a natural system, yung hormone na nakakatulong sa atin para matulog, melatonin, right? It's a natural hormone. Yan, hindi yan gagana pag mayroon pa ring ilaw. Kaya some people benefit from wearing yung parang sa plain. I don't personally use that. Ano yun eh, blessing sa akin yung pagiging doktor. Pag gusto ko matulog, nakakatulog agad kasi nga sa sobrang kaka-duty dati, napakahalaga ng tulog. So kami, trained kami to, the moment na masandal lang, tulog. But I know it's a mahirap siya for many people. But those are the things that you can do, guys. Okay? So, review na lang natin. Gagawa nga ako ng video about that para balik-balikan ninyo. But sleep hygiene ang tawag po dyan. Okay. Miss Karina, okay lang po ba mag-IF everyday na operahan sa breast cancer 2018, medication tamoxifen, losartan? It is okay. Your body needs to be more in fasting. Bagu-baguhin lang natin yung ranges ng fasting natin. You can do maybe OMAD one day, the next day TMAD. Bagu-baguhin natin yung length. Pwedeng 20 hours this time, pwedeng 18 next time, ganun. Para naman, meron tayong flexibility para yung katawan ay ano din siya, yung maging more sustainable tong lifestyle na to for us. Okay? Okay, Miss Angelica Salva, why do I experience fatigue after TMAD or OMAD? Perhaps you are not meeting yung iyong mga nutrient requirements. Make sure to meet your protein requirement, okay? So 1.5 grams per kilogram body weight, yan yung gitna na range. So kung ikaw, Miss Angelica, if you are, 50 kilograms, for example, i-calculate po ninyo. So 50 times 1.5, that's 75 grams protein. And then meet your fat requirement din. Depende sa stage ng journey mo. Kung ikaw naman ay wala namang disease na nire-reverse at hindi ka naman, you reach ideal weight, then yung fat mo up to satisfaction. Kung satisfied ka na, stop ka na. You have to meet those things. Otherwise, kasi super energy deficit tayo, nakaka-fatigue po yan. The other thing is, of course, yung electrolytes. Baka mababa. So, panoorin natin yung video natin about low-carb side effects. Okay, meron tayong angry face, galing kay Miss Medi de la Cruz Spencer. Miss Medi de la Cruz Spencer, bakit po kayo angry? Naka-angry face siya dito. Let me know po sa comment bakit kayo nagagalit. Okay, Doc, Miss Miles, Mr. or Miss Miles, okay lang ba MCT oil? Okay lang po. Sometimes lang nagkakaroon ng trigger. I mean, MCT oil in general is okay to take, right? But the thing with gallstones is nasa-stimulate kasi si gallbladder every time you eat something fatty. So, maaaring magbara pansamantala yung stone. Okay? So, medyo lang po, caution on that possible triggering. Okay. Thank you po for watching, sir. Edwin. Yes. Okay, Miss Zai. Good evening from Jensen. Breastfeeding for 3 months. Grabe po ako magpawis and feeling ko yung katawan ko nanginginig. Yeah, so ito po, make sure that you are, again, also meeting your protein and fat requirement. Kasi syempre pa nagbe-breastfeed tayo, we need more energy. Pag hindi natin nami-meet yun, nagkakaroon tayo ng too much deficit. So that can be the reason for dyan sa pawis and nanginginig, right? Too much losses then could also be from yung electrolytes natin, electrolyte losses. Okay, kasi autonomic symptoms yan yung magpawis ka tapos nanginginig. So make sure that you are, again, meeting your fat and protein requirements, and then also yung electrolyte natin na requirements. Okay? Alright. Thank you po, Sir Erwin. Marami po kayo natutunan. Thank you, sir, for watching. Okay, Miss Amanda, paano po totally mawala ang sweet cravings? Laging nadadapa. So, there are a few strategies dito. So, the first strategy is choose the lesser of two evils. Anong ibig sabihin? Kapag hindi talaga natin maiwasan, malakas ang craving, rather than resort to high carb, meron tayong mga low carb version ng mga sweets. So yung mga low carb, ano natin, mahahanap yan sa mga communities natin, right? Join tayo sa mga communities natin. Doon may mga recipes. Yung mga high carb sweets na gusto ninyo, kadalasan meron ng version yan na low carb eh. Yung mga cheesecakes, yung mga kakanin, mga ganyan, puto, whatever, right? Many of those already have low carb versions. So it's a matter of discipline. Like ako, I like yung mga sweets din, right? Kaya nga, gumagawa ako ng low carb cheesecake, low carb carrot cake, mga ganon, right? But choose the lesser of two evils. So go for your low carb version. Ngayon, kung gusto mo talaga completely mawala iyan, then you will have to even yung mga sweets na yan, tanggalin. Alam ko mahirap po yan. And pag hindi ka talaga mag-stick doon sa green section ng food guide, mahirap yun eh. Kasi kahit pa sabihin mo yung, kaya nga we always say, there's no such thing as a sweet, safe na sweetener. Kahit yung 4 na low-carb sweetener natin, monk fruit, stevia, xylitol, erythritol, kahit yung 4 na yan, it's still not completely safe. Kasi nga, the sweet taste still provides that dopamine signal sa brain mo. Ano ba si dopamine? Yan yung hormone of anticipation eh. Reward hormone yan. The same hormone that you get in addiction, right? Mga addicts, is a dopamine pathway. Ganun din yung sweet taste. Hanggat patuloy mong sinestimulate si dopamine, yung reward na yan, patuloy yan eh. So then you get the cravings, right? So kung gusto talaga nating totally eliminate yan, mag-keto tayo. Keto, really go low carb, clean keto, eat from the food guide, the green section lang, and mapapansin mo that you will not have craving for sweets. Pero kung talagang hindi pa rin mabanish, choose the lesser of two evils, do the recipes na low carb, masarap naman po. I guarantee you, masarap. So yun lang ang style dyan, okay? No need na mag-high carb. There's really no need. Napakarami ng recipes ng low carb na mga kakanin na napakasarap. Okay? Potassium and magnesium daily, Miss Eva. Yes, okay lang naman po. Wag lang masobrahan. Doon lang sa niya, yung recommended. Pag masobrahan kasi hindi rin maganda. Potassium, heart problem, magnesium, diarrhea, or some muscle effects din. Okay, Miss Chrysalis de Torres. Doktora, hindi po ako tumaba. Na-over na payat ko pag low carb. Mukha na daw po akong ganun. Yeah, so, okay. Build muscles, Miss Chrysalis. You have to build muscles, okay? Build your muscles, meet your protein and fat requirements. MCT while fasting, it will break your fast po. 3 eggs, Ballesteros. It's still okay. Wala naman problema yung MCT. But just so you know, it's called dirty fast. Kasi meron pa rin insulin stimulation. It is okay. Depends on your personal goals. Wala namang problema yan. But yun nga, it will put you in the category of dirty fast kasi may insulin stimulation pa rin siya. Kimchi sa low carb, yes po. Pwedeng-pwede. Okay. Motor neuron disease ang paglo-low carb. Not specifically, directly. Matutulungan ang quality of life, but yung motor neuron disease is its own disease by itself. Kahit di ka kahit low carb ka, maaari ka pa rin magkaroon yan. Pero the overall effect sa lifestyle mo is still a good idea. Pero in terms of maano ba siya, sana ba yun? Sana ito? Kung ma-reverse siya, not specifically. Okay. Miss Mitch Merizing, again, okay lang ba 50 grams kahit diabetic? Hindi po ba siya delikado? Not necessarily. Again, depende sa gamot. May mga gamot ng diabetes that are hypoglycemic talaga. So yung mga glyburide, mga ganon, glycoside, ingat sa ganon. Pero kung metformin lang naman should be fine. 50 grams is okay for diabetics. Ingat lang sa side effects, kaya panoorin natin yung low carb side effect video natin. Okay, nangihina kasi Miss Gloria, baka hindi na-meet yung protein requirement. Again, guys, even if you go low carb, basta ma-meet ninyo ang protein and fat requirement, you shouldn't be feeling na nangihina kayo. So you're not meeting your requirements. Yun yung ibig sabihin nun. Energy deficit kayo masyado, Miss Gloria. Review your protein requirement. May video tayo sa YouTube about that. Merong video about protein requirement mismo. Merong video about fat requirement din. Okay. Ano po ito, Miss Felros? Pwede bang kumain ng karne na pinaglagyam? I do not know yung pinaglagyam po. Ano ibig sabihin ng pinaglagyam? Ito, yung kanyang continuation ng breadcrumbs. Breadcrumbs po, ano ba yung breadcrumbs? Ano siya? Gawa siya sa flour, right? So, ang strategy po dyan, ano bang magandang substitute niyan? Either kayo mismo ang gumawa ng breadcrumbs from from low-carb na bread, yung mga keto bread, or chicharon po. Chicharon is a great coat. Pang-coat, chicharon. Protein po yun. Protein and fat. Yun ang pwede nating replacement sa breadcrumbs. Yes, Miss Melinda, pwede po ang vitamin C habang naglo-low carb. Okay lang po ba kumain ng eggs everyday kahit may opo? Ang cholesterol na minimeasure sa katawan natin, yan ay maliit ang contribution compared doon sa cholesterol na ginagawa ng katawan natin from high carb. Okay lang po kumain ng eggs. Okay, Miss Maripath Huta, nag-low carb po ako pero lately nakain din ako ng bread like wheat bread. Parang feeling ko nagugutom ako agad. 52 years old na po ako for 1150 kilograms. Gusto ko po na weight ko, kaya lang parang lagi ako gutom. Yes po. Kasi hindi pa rin yun nag-give up ang bread, right? As long as you're getting that insulin stimulation, naalala po ninyo yung kanina, sana nandito kayo nung kwento ko yun. Look at this. As long as you're getting that stimulation sa insulin, tingnan nyo yung yung kanyang pagbagsak. Very steep, Tingnan nyo, yung carbs nandyan sa taas, right? Ang steep ng bagsak niyan, sudden spike, sudden bagsak. Anong resulta? Gutom. Tingnan nyo yung time frame. Tingnan po ninyo. Tingnan nyo yung bagsak, mangyayari siya dito sa 160, 160, 180, 2 to 3 hours po. 2 to 3 hours gutom na ulit kayo. Bakit? Dahil dyan sa insulin stimulation from carb. Tingnan niyo yung protein and fat. Dahan-dahan, mas matagal sa sistema. Right? You don't get hungry. Anong solusyon? Food guide. Download natin, sundan natin, mag-commit tayo kay food guide. Parang relasyon lang yan. Committed, stay committed. Pag hindi na kayo kumakain from the red group, mawawala yung mga ganyan. Makakatagal kayo ng fasting. Kaya yun po ang sikreto dyan. Low carb, stay low carb. Frozen shoulder, not all the time. Depende. Frozen shoulder can be from repetitive, yung mga movements. It's always a good idea na mag-low carb pa rin, pero frozen shoulder by itself is mechanical. So, hindi guarantee na mawawala yan dahil iba rin yung source niyan eh. Hindi naman yan dahil sa pag-low carb. Although the sugar inflammation can contribute to the joint pain, but yung frozen shoulder mismo, it's coming from the mechanical issue, right? I will still go for low carb, pero hindi ko sasabihin na ma-reverse niya yung frozen shoulder mo kasi nga mechanical siya. Okay, Miss Maricar, good evening, 2 months na nag-low carb. Bakit po nataas pa rin BP 130/90 at 120/90? You have to give it time po. 2 months pa lang kayo nag-low carb. Kailangan natin bigyan ng panahon. It's a marathon po, hindi siya sprint. Keep going low carb and the BP will settle down. Pag hindi pa rin mag-settle down, investigate further. Merong 20% ng hypertension na hindi lifestyle ang cause. Okay? So, kailangan nating imbestigahan. But, give it some time. Napaka-saglit pa lang ng time na kayo naka-low carb. Cannot expect miracles po. Okay? Hindi po ba nakaka-break ng fast ang pag-take ng supplement? Depende po sa supplement. Read the label. Kung yung supplement ninyo wala namang carb content, it should not break your fast. That should be fine. Yung iba kasi nagtitake ng supplement, yung mga drinks, mga ganon. Pag binasa mo, doon sa kanyang nutrition label, meron siyang net carb content, it will break your fast. Pero kung wala naman, should be fine. Okay, senior citizens, vitamins. Normally sa mga seniors ko, I like giving the eye vitamins, yung AREDS 2 formula, para sa mata, pero may multivitamins na rin siya. So usually kasama na yang mga yan, B complex, C and D. It's good to have yung coenzyme Q10 para sa heart health. Calcium, vitamin D are important kasi nawawala, osteoporosis becomes an issue sa ating mga seniors. Pero usually yung AREDS2 formula plus multivitamin complex should be enough. Fish oil is also good. High EPA na fish oil is also good. Pag kumakain kayo ng nutrient-dense na diet, kadalasan hindi na kailangan ng vitamins, right? Kasi nandun na siya lahat, pati yung mga micronutrients. So, eggs, right? Fishes, nuts, mga ganun po, yung different oils natin, right? Okay. Good day po, Doktor. Type 1 diabetic po ay hindi pwedeng maalis gaya ng type 2 na sabi nila nare-reverse. 31 years na akong diabetic. Iba-iba po yung source. Usually, it's an autoimmune disease. Maaari siyang mag-improve sa paglo-low carb. Pero, yun nga, because ano kasi niyan yung source kasi niyan is autoimmune. Sarili mong katawan, inatake yung insulin-producing cells mo. So, often, hindi na siya mare-reverse, pero it doesn't mean to say na hindi mag-improve yung lifestyle mo from doing low carb. So certainly, I would still advocate, pero ingat po kasi ang type 1s will need insulin, ano? So ingat kasi may adjustment tayo ng insulin. Be guided by your own doctor, preferably endocrinologist or low carb doctor. Be guided by them para sa pag-adjust ng insulin po ninyo. Kasi may kailangang adjustment yan. Doc, per day po ba yung 50 to 20 yung kailangan yung carb? Opo, net carb allowance per day po yon. Yes. Miss Gloria Lagat, okay lang ba calcium, magnesium, and LCIF? May nabili ako 1,000 milligrams calcium, 500 magnesium. Yes po, 500 milligrams, medyo border na siya ng magnesium natin. So, ingat lang sa side effect na diarrhea. Pag nagkaka-diarrhea, tone down on the magnesium. Okay, last 2 questions. Okay, hi po, good evening. Ako po ay malaki ang tiyan ko, why kaya? Pero kaya ko pag 18-hour fasting. Dahil po yan sa high carb. So try po muna natin mag low carb, Miss Lauren, Elizabeth. Kapag tayo ay naging consistent na sa paglo-low carb, give it 2 to 4 weeks, tayo magiging fat adapted, mas magiging mabisa ang ating pagfa-fasting. And yeah, kailangan natin mag low carb po. Okay? Miss Divine, the maximum dose niyang melatonin can be 10, but I would really encourage you to do the sleep hygiene na na-mention ko kanina. Kasi sometimes kung hindi enough yung melatonin, so you can go up to 10 milligrams niyan, ano? Pag hindi enough yan, then you will have to, deal with it in other ways. So again, ulitin ko lang ulit, avoid stimulation. So wag kakain less than 4 hours bago mag-bedtime, wag mag-exercise masyado malapit sa bedtime. Avoid yung mga white light, TV, any stimulation, cellphone. Tanggalin natin yung light curtains or yung ganun, right? Practice stress reduction. Yun po yung mga importante dyan. Okay? Okay, and that's it. So, everyone, maraming salamat sa panonood. I'll see you again. Yung mga kailangan mag-join sa Zoom meet ko, join po sa aking group. Nandun yung announcement. Maybe in 2 weeks time, mag-zoom ulit tayo. So stay healthy, everyone, and stay low carb. Bye for now.